Guess what, Colleen?
I don't know. What do we got? What do we got?
The Great Northern Sexcast has a sponsor.
Woo!
I know. And Megan, good morning.
Good morning.
So welcome to the Great Northern Sexcast, and check this out. We've got Audible on board, and there's a really, really cool promotion for there. You can get a special deal by going to audibletrial.com and go /social for the Alive and Social Network. And there's over 180,000 titles for you to choose from, and you can get a free book. So audibletrial.com /social. So that's how we're going to start out today, by thanking them for being on board.
That is spectacular. I know folks that have, just said that they love this website, and I'm really excited to try it out. And they've got a couple of choices that are available. They've got classics like The Hobbit. They've got some teen fiction, Divergent. If you learn thinking about business stuff, titles like Lean In. So I mean, I'm pretty sure it's all there. Liz, who works for us, is constantly doing audiobooks. And so I'm pretty sure this is the company she was talking about. And now the
she
response.
loves Audible.
I'm like, wow. And my house is filled with books.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I want to carry it around with me if I'm driving. You can't can't do that. So I'm pretty excited.
No, it used to make me laugh back, not too terribly many years ago, although Megan would still have been in diapers, like the early 2000s, you were still buying books on CDs or stuff like that, and DVDs coming home and stuff like that, and the fact that everything's just digital now is so nice because there's less stuff. So.
I can handle the less stuff and still get the information. That works for me.
For sure. Well, before we fired up the show today, we were talking about the Oscars. Colleen, you said you didn't watch it at all?
No, not at all.
Meg?
I watched bits and pieces the next day over the internet.
Oh, you did?
Seems to be the way to do it.
Okay. Sacha Baron Cohen, whatever, when he made the did you see the clip?
Yeah. He's never funny. I just do not like this guy. And he goes to these insane lengths, like him and his wife hiding fake beards in bathrooms so he can sneak this character into the Oscars.
Okay.
And he's not going to be funny while he's there?
Yeah.
Well, is this like who's the guy that used to be in Taxi that ended up dying of cancer?
Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman. They just live.
Yes.
The performance.
Yes.
Everything is a
so
performance.
He's done like Borat and stuff.
Yeah,
so when he does red carpets, he will usually do it as Borat, or this was his character Ollie G.
Okay.
That they specifically said to Sacha Baron Cohen, do not bring any of your characters to these Oscars. So that's why he did this whole.
But I'm sorry, and I know that the Asian community was offended, but it was funny when he was, I'm thinking, oh God, here we're slamming the racial thing when he talked about these hardworking little yellow people with tiny dongs, and then he brings out the Minions. And that was, actually kind of funny, unless, of course, I guess you're Asian.
Well, they weren't mad at him. They're mad at Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Chris Rock is the one who made a few. It's like you're focusing this entire show on diversity and how there needs to be diversity in Hollywood, but you're still going to make Asians are good at math jokes. Mm-hmm. Like, really? Yeah. Really?
It does seem easy. I did read that he spent weeks beforehand at one of the comedy clubs in town honing all of this, and people were made to turn in their phones beforehand and all that. He did, work it out. And, I suppose it's impossible not to piss somebody off in a broadcast like that. Mm-hmm. But you think that that you could have pissed somebody off by mispronouncing their name and not going down the easy stereotype joke.
Well, especially as his opening monologue was really good, and I think really smart and kind of powerful, and what he had to say about the whole Oscars so white controversy overall. It was really interesting. And then to cheapen your own point by fulfilling yet another, we're going to focus on how black people are not given the opportunity in Hollywood the way they should be, which I would agree with. Mm-hmm. But then you kind of lose your point when you're like, and also all Asian children work in sweatshops.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you not see the double stand. Like he's trying to push the envelope so far in one way, and yet just comes off so tone deaf in others.
Yeah. No, I mean, I by and large, I am a huge disliker of award shows because at the end of the day, they're rarely, no matter who does them, rarely funny. Everything is so forced, and it's a big self-congratulatory masturbation event for people that are privileged, in my opinion. Anyway,
Yeah.
so it's like whatever.
Yeah, there's so many of them. But this year I actually did see one of the movies. It's been years since I've seen any of the Oscar-nominated films in general. And so I saw The Lady in the Van. And if you are a Maggie Smith fan, you want to go see this movie.
Was it good?
I was like, you saw
I
the
love
one
her.
that nobody's even heard of. That was she must have been down on the
Well, I'm not-
bottom of the
I'm not-
supporting actress
No,
noms.
it was Best Actress. Now I'm pretty sure she got a Best
Actress.
Actor nomination. I'm not even sure she went. I think she's busy doing something else. But it was like, a couple of weeks ago, I said, I think I want to go see a movie, and we went to go see this, and I'm like, oh my god, it was just.
I
small,
love her.
Yeah, it is a small role, and she's still, kicking ass at 80 something. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, she's something else. I love her, but yeah, it was kind of interesting. Well, and today, ironically, it's Super Tuesday. Sure, Super Tuesday.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I know. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. My neighborhood won't, where I live, one party will be taking over the entire elementary school, and the other party will be taking over one small classroom at the high school. And I live in the district that has Keith Ellison as a representative, so you can sort of figure out which party is going to get the larger turnout.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends that are very interested in politics. I've always voted, even when I went to school in Spain.
Okay.
I took a bus up to U.S. Embassy and filled out everything.
Cool.
That was fun.
Yeah, that is kind of cool to say you did that. I mean,
yeah.
really. Well, later in the show, I just mentioned that because you can't get away from it today. I found a really interesting article about, we talk a lot about labels here because we talk about all the different orientations that people have and not labeling and being inclusive and not offending people by language. They did abroad some studies about patterns of language that reveal whether you're socially liberal or conservative, and it's really interesting. So we'll get to that later on in the discussion thing. I'm really curious to see what you guys think about it, and because when I first started reading the article, I'm like, oh my god, actually that kind of does make sense. And I started thinking about people that I know, and I'm like, yeah, so and so would say it that way, and somebody else would probably say this. So we'll look at that coming up. It just keeps getting weirder for Airbnb, and what I didn't realize what the driving force behind some of this. I just found out that I rented my house out, and it's now in a porn movie. We've had stories like that. Okay. Well, the biggest reason this is, and the proliferation of these issues that they're having, particularly in California, was that LA County enacted the condom law back in 2012, and you can't film a porn in LA County unless everybody has condoms. So they're going to other counties, but they're not filing for permits. They're just renting properties, and people are finding out from friends and other ways, oh, look, or they're finding evidence from the shoot after the fact.
I'm not sure how many people would unless, how do you not clean up? Okay, one, there's that. I mean, if you're going to be doing something that is probably not on the, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, that filming people having sex isn't on the up and up, but if you're not doing it, with a permit and all this sort of places, why are you leaving evidence?
Cover your tracks.
Cover your tracks.
Yeah.
And then two, I'm trying to figure out, so let's say I'm watching a movie and I noticed like my, someone's new house.
Yeah.
Do you just send like a screenshot and an anonymous, email? How do you say, by the way, I recognized your house while I was watching a movie?
And by the way, sanitize the couch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like immediately. Oh my God.
I feel they must not be good filmmakers because I've been on film crews before.
Yeah.
And you leave your location better when you leave than when you showed up.
Like
Right.
camping, leave no trace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this one guy with the last name Lucas, I guess he's a pretty bigwig in the adult video industry, and he's one of the ones that says, "Yeah, I do it all the time." And the reason they don't file for the permits, like which is required in Ventura County and things like that, is because then the owner would know what's happening. And so they really are being, some of them, not all. There's probably some really responsible groups. I'm sure that the one that Jessica Drake is with is not like this, but yeah, they're flouting the rules, and Airbnb is getting sued, and they just are not figuring out how to like. They haven't figured out their process to thwart this.
Yeah, how to stop it.
Well, I'm assuming that if you have a large enough and fancy enough property, assume that someone might want to have sex in it. I mean, they go.
That's the thing. I mean, if people are coming into your Airbnb anyways, they're gonna have sex.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if they're getting whether or not they're getting paid for it, whether or not it's showing up online. You know.
Yeah.
This is just really surprising because a lot of the major movie companies, like having your permits in order, that's a big damn deal.
Yeah.
And so that they would shoot without permits is pretty surprising to me.
Well, I bet you anything. Sometimes it's probably online, might be online content. Stuff like that versus
putting out like a physical DVD.
Yeah, because that way when you're putting out the physical DVDs and all that sort of stuff, you need to have, there's all sorts of rules, and you have to have everybody on sign off and do all this sort of stuff.
Right, and keep the records of age. And
I'm not sure that online content has the same set of rules. Or it's probably going through there.
Interesting.
That's what's nice about buying something that was made. It's a responsibly made movie.
Yeah, it's like cruelty free or organically grown or something like that. Only this was fully permitted sex.
You said Lucas, right? I wonder if that's of Lucasfilm, because that's a pretty big studio.
Yeah, it is. I didn't paste the whole article here for reference, but I can't find his.
Not to be confused with the Lucasfilm.
Not George Lucas. But this guy, it is Lucasfilms. It's a different Lucasfilms. So you guys remember a couple weeks ago we talked about, and this picture just recently resurfaced of Susan Sarandon getting just slammed because she wore a bra under her suit, and I thought she looked really nice. But
I was not here for that episode. She looked banging.
She looked really pretty. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of the pictures. There's a beautiful woman in a blue dress that's also quite beautiful. It's her daughter, Eva Murray. Eva just had to fire her nanny. Second one in like 30 days. The first one was, how did she say it? Untruthful in a major way. So we don't know what the first nanny did. But the second nanny, they found a text. It actually went to Eva's husband, so the in-house father that this chick's nannying for, that looked like maybe it was a mistake. It says, "Oh my God, girl, did I mention to you how hot and sexy my boss is? I would love to fuck his brains out. Ha ha." So they thought, well, maybe this was a mistake. So they kept waiting for the oops to come through, and they didn't. And they were going to confront her. But before they could do that, they came home and they saw her peeking out of their bedroom window, and they went up and drawers were disturbed. And basically, Eva Murray says, "I think she was digging through his drawers, sniffing his underwear. Oh my God." And so they had to fire her. But can you even imagine?
I've had someone watch my daughter. You get, single parent, and once you're done with daycare, what do you do? And stuff going through there, and there's very reputable companies that I'm like, how do you? I don't understand why it would be that difficult to find some. I mean, I suppose they're really, really good at hiding what they really want till they get the job with the star they want, or something like that. Like sort of like the folks that go down and pursue professional, football or baseball players or something like that. They maneuver their entire life to get the right nanny job. But I mean, it just. Oh, that would just be so creepy.
It's horribly creepy. I mean, and that would suck as a celebrity, just to have to deal with, really not knowing what you're getting. I mean, you can do all this stuff, but if they have a clean record, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm. Right. Although I would think that would be hard for anyone. Nannies will be creepy stalkers and have sex with husbands of normal people too. So,
Good point.
The only
Good point.
downside is if it happens to a celebrity, and not even a celebrity, the daughter of a celebrity. Does she do anything on her own?
I don't
Is she
think
an
so.
actress?
I don't
You
think
know,
she is. But
so that's the only downside is you'll hear about it.
Yeah.
Like you're somehow involved to someone famous, so we're gonna make
Yeah.
sure that your dirty laundry is now public.
her husband's a sportscaster.
Oh, okay.
So, he's sort
Public
of in the
figure.
business. Yeah. Yeah. So, there's a couple stories that come out of our nation's colleges today. And this one from Vermont, I wonder what Bernie would think of this. Middlebury College announced that they are going to stop selling energy drinks this week by March 7th. And the rationale is really kind of weird. There's one guy, a kid that attends there that interns with the dining services. And he says, well, two things. It promotes a culture of stress and bad academic habits. But this other person, and this is the executive director, of dining hall at a college, he goes, well, energy drinks can have health consequences. They have been linked to unsafe behavior like drinking alcohol and high-risk sexual activity. So the headline on this is energy drinks, risky sex. Are you serious?
Fuck this guy.
Seriously? I know,
And
Meg with her monster.
Well, rock star. Like, I'm pretty sure if you cut me, I would bleed like mango passion rock star zero, a very specific kind.
Okay.
I mean, I have at least 2 a day. So this is from a perspective of someone who is addicted to energy drinks. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Are they also not selling Mountain Dew and coffee on? I mean, you can abuse anything. I mean, it's a little frustrating, but I mean, if they're seeing folks that are just living on these, I'm like, oh. I mean, a lot of schools have removed, soda and stuff from their lunchroom, but those are like 11-year-olds.
These are adults.
These are grown-ass adults, I suppose, can be as idiotic as they want.
Right. Well, that's kind of what college is for, a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
But the idea that you have too many energy risky sex and behavior.
Well, some of the students are just going, really? They're not banned. They can't buy them on campus anymore. But they did call in for a quote from an addiction researcher, and she said, "Well, if you look at this on the cursory level, it looks like the kids that are heavily into drinking energy drinks are more likely to be the ones that are inclined toward taking other types of risks." But I mean, somebody started a movement and got an administrator on their side and really wrecked it for everybody. So now people have to go further.
I just wonder, because I feel like a lot of people drink energy drinks. And so it's such a wide pool to say that one has any correlation with the other seems
a culture of stress and bad academic habits,
ridiculous.
Megan.
It's not stress.
No,
I'm just sleepy.
I mean, that's why they... Yeah, that's why they buy the that's why they buy Adderall. I'm pretty sure.
Right, right. Let's talk about that. How about they stop selling speed in gas stations? Trucker friends or whatever they're called.
It's very weird.
That hits close to home.
Megan's upset.
Gets me a little worked up because I don't drink coffee, so it's all I have.
Okay.
Yeah. We got 2 coffees and 1 energy drink here. So that's just idiotic.
Actually, she's going unleaded right now. She's got.
I know. Because I'm only allowing myself 2 a day because I keep wanting that third one, and then I drink it, and then my stomach says, "No, God, why did you do that?" And I always regret it. So I'm trying to space them out a little bit.
Well, moving over to the University of Michigan, this one gets me. So, does it surprise you that students would erect a snow penis after a major storm?
Oh, I've seen lots of snowcock.
Snowcocks are funny, whatever. Okay, but what distinguishes this particular story, ladies, is that somebody actually made a bias complaint. And this carries a whole different level of need for investigation and everything else. And so they're sitting there saying, look, we have to investigate this because if they call it a bias complaint, these are incidents that make people feel targeted because of their social identity group membership. And so university housing, now they're going to waste a lot of university resources on this. And so this one chick said, well, maybe it was triggered because nobody made a snow vagina out there, but they're all, going back and forth. But this is all escalated and there's not anything that they can do. It's a paperwork thing. Somebody could say, I'm sorry, let's just take it down. and move on. But there's a penis outside. There's penises in pants next to you every day. Like, really?
I just don't. I feel like you would have to have some sort of statement as to who this is, what group this is targeting in a biased nature. Right? I mean, who are they targeting?
They pushed a panic button. And now there's this ball rolling that is everybody knows is bullshit, but they're going to just go. I mean, and once again, all somebody had to do is go down and knock down the penis.
Right.
I mean, like, really, at the end of the day, okay, it's gone. Have a nice time until somebody else builds another one.
Yeah.
Which
and they
will.
Yeah. I mean, this is stupid.
Well, now there's going to be plenty of them. They're probably going to build a lot. I do find it, I mean, you don't want to call somebody, when you call someone a pussy, that's derogatory, but no one really thinks about, if you call someone, why, when you're using body terms as derogatory things, the pendulum has swung to the weird. Mm-hmm. Well, they'll eventually figure it out. It will swing back to the medium because you don't want to be calling, folks awful things. And every now and then it's sort of like the stupid takes over the any sort of reasonableness, and this is one time that it happened. Because believe me, if someone had built, I mean, you could have built any body part out there, and someone was going to be, someone at this point is going to be, upset by it, and it's just, and I'm like, well, it's sort of funny, but. Maybe the reasons behind it being funny aren't funny. I don't, and it doesn't, I mean, I'm not saying that I agree with how insane it is, but when they come up with these policies, they need to have
a disqualifier. Yeah, this doesn't quite meet the.
Yeah, like some sort of vetting process, yeah. and a lot of stuff gets swept up. There's a case going at the Supreme Court of Minnesota right now about a gal that accidentally forgot she was working on a farm and put a penknife in her purse and brought it to school. And you need, was this willful? No.
Yeah.
And so, but there's, this zero tolerance, that sort of stuff. It sounds good on paper, but in real life, we all know that there's no such thing as 100% of anything. There's no, there will always be someone who can figure out how to screw it up for somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, you just need to try and narrow it to that point, and it's really hard because people are idiots, and they will ruin it for others.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I sent the links, and Megan, I think we can get away with this picture on the Great Northern Sex Cast page. This one I'm still freaking out about. A woman, 24-year-old gal, got arrested at Kennedy Airport in New Jersey or whatever, because she tried to smuggle a half a pound of cocaine in her vagina. And that doesn't seem like a lot because you're thinking, okay, 8 ounces or whatever. But if you see the picture of this egg-shaped container that thing was in, I'm like, oh my God, I would not want to fly with that thing sitting down. No, it's disturbing. Customs saw it on the X-ray.
Yeah, I mean, because really, I mean, 8 ounce. Honestly, I have no idea what the density of cocaine is. So maybe it's really.
It looks like a hard, egg-shaped box, like a plastic. I mean, it looks.
Like they put it in one of those egg containers.
That kinda. I mean, it kind of looks like that.
I suppose it's more ergonomical for insertion that way.
Yeah, I mean, it literally, and it looks big in the picture.
I guess I would say, considering the size of some of the toys we sell, would not surprise me.
That's true.
Especially if she's sampling the wares before inserting. You know what I mean? That's great. We'll just put it right up there. No problems.
That's just outside of my comfort zone. I'm not going to lie. Toronto, though, this one, I couldn't stop giggling. Like, seriously, it's so preposterous. So this Canadian dude smuggled 38 turtles in his pants into the country. Did you see this? Those little suckers can snap. Okay, let's just even start there. But he the sentence is what gets me. He's been banned from owning turtles for 10 years. Oh, no turtles for you. Okay,
it's all reptiles, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. But he they were in plastic bags and tapes to his legs. Can you even imagine trying to fly? Think about an egg up your hoo-ha. But now think about turtles near your schwanz. I mean, I don't know. But they caught him on February 17th. And so not only is he banned from owning reptiles for 2 years, or 10 years, actually. He's got 2 years worth of probation. He was fined about $2,600 American. And this, I don't, Colleen knows what I'm going to say. He was also ordered to write a letter about his experience for publication as the Department of Public Safety sees fit.
An essay.
I want to read the turtle in my pants essay. When is it coming out? Please.
Maybe you'll be able to find it on audible.com.
Yeah. I'm saying.
I know that's the line. I'm like, turtle essay, huh? That's what got me.
That just cracked me completely and totally up. But I mean, turtles in your pants. Like seriously, the chances, the things that could go wrong there are just terrifying.
Yeah, that's
so
I mean,
numerous.
people have stuffed birds down. I mean, everything with them. Like, I don't want a live animal stuffed on my pants.
No.
I think that's probably smart, Colleen.
I guess, maybe for a minute or two if I'm it's just the idea of it being trapped on a plane for hours.
Well, and they're moving around.
Yeah.
Can you?
I guess if I could stick a turtle in my pants and then take it right out again at will, that'd be fine.
Next time there's a turtle anywhere near you, just because of this conversation.
Oh my God, Megan might have a turtle thing.
Well, you hear the urban legend about women that masturbate with lobsters, so or I'm the only one who has. Yeah, it's a terrible story. It's bad. PETA would not like it because you cut off their head and then their tails go crazy. So there's always urban legends about being used in that manner.
There's so many other sex toys.
Right. I say buy a vibrator from Fantasy Gifts, but sometimes all you have is a lobster. We've lost Colleen.
She's under the table almost. Who does that? No. And the salt water. Think about oh God, up under the little flappy tentacle thing. Oh no.
Yeah, you don't use the pinchers. You don't use the pinchers.
Obviously.
It's the
but
tail.
Even the flappy part has if you've ever gotten a whole lobster. Even the bottom, the end, there's sharp shit on there. I wouldn't want that near my. Are you okay? Okay. I will be. Okay, I'm laughing watching her. I can't look right now. Okay, I'm going to tell you one that's less funny but kind of interesting. This one, Megan, is kind of for you and the Comic-Cons in our fan base and our community here. A dude in England got away with building a bat cave in their house to house all of his Batman memorabilia. And he's a sculptor. And the pictures, so, it's supposed to look like stalactite and stuff and whatever. And it took him a couple of years. And his wife allowed him to do this with the promise that he not ask nor ever decorate any other room in the house forever. This was the one thing that he gets to do. And it's kind of cool. And when I first read it, I'm like, holy shit, was this their bedroom? Because I would have it, but it's not. It was a spare room and stuff. But we just got to put the picture up there. He's got $21,000 worth of Batman memorabilia. And the pictures are kind of neat. And he says he assures us that every other room in there is normal, but the stuff that people will do to feature their hobbies, so to speak.
Definitely.
But his wife, I thought, was pretty good. Okay, there's a couple of things out of Britain today. This got me just absolutely okay. Northern England, there's a pub. This lady owns it. 3 Arrows Inn. And she finally has gone to Facebook because she's so tired of people fucking in her parking lot. And she's had it. And she put a picture on Facebook of a guy's soiled underpants that she found dumped right outside. And she says, okay, and this is the line, I got to read it to you. And imagine this with a British accent. Doggers, please be aware that my closed circuit TV reaches all of my car park. It's bad enough that I have to endure the footage, but please do not leave your dirty underpants size XXL on my grounds. And she goes, it's no fun picking it up. Love, Louise, the landlady. But she says every day there's all sorts of stuff. I mean, she said it's chronic, and it could be 3:00 in the afternoon. And one time she threw some people out in broad daylight, quit fucking in my parking lot, and they left. But a week later, they came back for dinner. Same people.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
What?
So she's going to upload the footage to Facebook if they don't stop it.
Is there some
Should.
sort of
Good.
yeah? Is there some? Sorry, I still let.
I know. I was trying to give you some
Yeah.
recovery time.
But I'm just like, what is it? I mean, see, now, to some extent, people might be doing to see if they can get away with it. Now that she's made it, but she definitely, I mean, at one point, she's going to, why the local police aren't just hanging out in the parking lot is beyond me. They could probably solve a whole bunch of.
Or she doesn't seem to be doing anything with them, right?
She just, I mean, I think that it could be like, I know that when we make phone calls about stuff like there was a guy peeing on cars outside of my boyfriend's store.
Oh, you mentioned that. Yeah.
And like the cops didn't get there very quickly at all. And when they did, they were more interested in petting my dogs than they were in looking for the peeing maniac loose in the parking lot.
Right. I was, if she has closed circuit, you'd think she, because we had at one of our stores, we had a drug dealing problem because it was empty for a while. We bought a building and dealers thought, they're like, oh, we can just keep using their parking lot as a meetup spot.
That's
and we're like,
scary.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
So same with this woman, like once you call in a few license plates to the cops, people figure it out. That this is not a welcome place to deal drugs or to fuck or to whatever, whatever the case might be.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of tacky. But, here's another one too, though. This, and all the links are here, okay? But there is kind of some frantic buzz out there about Adolf Hitler possibly having a couple of health conditions that resulted in an extremely small penis, which history's biggest dick has a little one. But it's pretty interesting, and it's all discussed in a book called Hitler's Last Day, Minute by Minute, and it was originally referred to in a biography of Eva Braun. But there's a real condition that he was believed to have had, actually two. They sound just horrible. Hypospadias. And that means, he would have to get testosterone injections to have sex. Ew. But then also one ball that never descended. Isn't it?
Is this why you guys are, when you see the big pickup truck with the dual exhaust and they're zipping down the street, you always go, hey, they're compensating for something.
Yeah.
People seem to be very, very interested in always trying to figure out why someone is as evil as they are or as obnoxious as they are or anything. And so just any grasping of information as to why someone could be such a horrible, horrible human being.
Yeah. I mean, we're grasping at penises. Have you guys ever engaged in the sport of curling at all?
No, I have. I've never even. It seems like it would be fun. Just because you see the people who curl and they look like normal people, not like incredible, not these insane athletes that have genetically perfect bodies.
Right. Like I've got I could be a bowler. Maybe.
That's the broom stuff. Well, I mean, if you've ever, I always watch it at the Olympics. It's just fascinating to me. But the St. Paul Curling Club is right over on Selby. It's right, and I've just been dying to just go try it sometime, just to whatever. But there's and I put the link up to it, Meg. There is this insane thread posted on the internet of all these off the charts hot women that are like champion curlers. Oh my God. And there's all these sexy, and what makes it so funny, like there's one in like garter belts and she's just smoking. I mean, just perfect bod. And she's leaned over and I don't know what all the equipment is, but she's got, that big rock that they use and whatever. And she's in front of a clock and it's all this artsy fun. Hot curlers. I'm just saying. And we've got a link to it and there's like a million of them.
So are there do they do the hot dudes of curling?
No, this was just about the women.
Or they have in fact, once again, figured out how to sexualize females sexualize everything.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I know, but it's just, I was just cracking up. I'm like, of all the bizarre things that came across my, purview this week, the fact that there's all these crazy, and there's like one chick in Scotland and she's like topless and she's got her medal, but she, she's faced away. So it's her bare back with her medal hanging down and she's peeking over. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that they were... Maxim was into this. I mean, it's like, who knew they were covering this part?
Well, I did finally see a women firefighters calendar. It was St. Louis or someone, but it was the women of the department.
Fun.
Was it neat?
Taking pictures. And yeah, I mean, and these were women that were all shapes and sizes, but they all went and and they all took photos where they, where they felt, the most comfortable. And it's not as beef cheesecakey as guys are beefcakey, but they are really good shots.
Cool.
And just going through there because because the women were looking around, well, the guys have done these calendars for years, so why don't we do one? And, and the fact is that there was enough female firefighters in this city to put together a pretty decent calendar.
Yeah, they were trying to just be allowed to be firefighters first.
I think it took them a while to jump on that.
I was going to say, speaking of sexualized women, I just put last night on the Great Northern Sexcast Facebook page this really cool article that has every Playboy, the cover of every Playboy from the start to now.
Oh,
so
wow.
like 1953 or 5 to the last one in 2016. It's just got a list. And it's pretty fascinating because like Marilyn Monroe is in there, Betty Page.
Yeah.
And to see kind of what people preferences and the way the look of the women kind of changed throughout the years. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've seen those, like 20 years ago. Every once in a while you'll see something like that, and just watching the trends go through, it's really cool. So there's a video, and Megan, you can post it on the site if you want to, but it was kind of funny. It's a video about with couples, and it's shot kind of funny. They're laying on a bed, they're fully clothed or whatever. They're talking to couples, featuring couples trying to tell each other what their sexual fantasies are. And since we talk about communication all the time, if you're going to buy stuff, just anything, through the store, it's really funny to watch it, because if you think you feel awkward, watch these people. And it's not cringeworthy. It's actually kind of cute. They've got a male gay couple there, and they've got a couple, just at different points in their sort of sexual thing. And it's really funny because they get tickled, but then they manage to spit it out. So watch that. I think it would be a kind of a good icebreaker if somebody's thinking about.
So you finally decide to speak, and you're going to do it on camera.
Well, I'm just saying it's good for other people, who might be afraid to see how other people
might react.
Yeah. I watched it for a couple minutes. I thought, oh God, how hard is this going to be to watch? But it was kind of funny, actually, and not in a making fun sort of way. Erin Andrews, do you guys know who that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw that she was in court recently, and because the stuff is still going on. This stuff happened years
2012,
ago. Yeah. Years ago.
Yeah, if you don't know,
she's still fighting this. Yeah,
but so she's the former ESPN football reporter. Sideline reporting for college football is you got to know your stuff. This girl obviously has her chops. She's done some other things now. She's, I believe, in the Fox Sports system now, but she also did a little stint on Dancing with the Stars. That kind of was what she was trying to use as a comeback, because she went into such a reeling depression. So she's suing Marriott for $75 million because basically they sort of provided the gateway for this stalker to access the room next to her, to install the camera that put nude video of her on the internet. And that's fine. And I think that they do need to have some culpability. Here's what I want to know. Why is she not suing ESPN? Because she went off the air after this happened, and you can tell there's no shred of consent in this nude video. It was of her showering, okay? Gets out there. They take her off the air and told her she can't go back on the air until she does an interview. And they were trying to get her because ESPN is in the same umbrella with ABC, and they wanted her on GMA. And she's like, no, I don't want to go on GMA. I know what's going to happen. It's going to be like, well, do you think this is a scandal? And they're going to chew me up and spit me out and not pay attention. So she enlisted Oprah to do it. And so Oprah got her story more out there, more sympathetically or whatnot. How can ESPN require that? And that's what I'm saying. And I've been in the Boys Club of Broadcasting. I was a sports person, actually, too. The way that I can't even imagine that how is she not suing them for sexual harassment, for putting her out there to explain something that happened to her at the hands of a stalker?
Yeah, they were trying to make her prove that it wasn't a PR stunt. I'm sorry, if she says it's not a PR stunt, then it's not a PR stunt. And I would never, and really, you need to click on the 17 million people or zillion people that have done it and sue them too. But yeah, forcing someone to relive abuse to get your job back. Why she's not? Maybe she wins against Marriott and then. And then goes after ESPN. She's also, she's also probably seriously looking at it going, but this is my chosen field. She might be completely, stopping all chances. And this is the thing that happens to women when they speak up, and men. Because if you think women aren't believed, guys certainly are usually not believed either if they're brave enough to say that they were sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
But she could be, totally screwing over any, future jobs by suing. But forcing her. I mean, I was reading. Yeah, I cursory looked at it because I didn't want to give. Whenever I think something is appalling, I try not to click on it because I don't want to give that sort of, that sort of credence to something that awful.
Oh, perpetuate the clickbait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, and I didn't watch the video, but I just was following the story of her, and I think she was treated abominably.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if that falls under there. I feel like there's a lot of pretty crazy rules for public figures in broadcasting that would not fly at any other kind of business. Yeah. I mean, the idea that your bosses can also tell you're never allowed to cut your hair, or get caught having a drink in public or whatever other kind of, so it definitely seems to be part of that field.
Read a professional sports contract. Those guys are supposed to do things like not skateboard, not ride motorcycles, and they freaking do it all the time, and they keep their jobs. So, and when they have completely breached, it just sucks. It's just the rules. I just really am pulling for her because I think that she was victimized twice.
Yeah.
By ESPN.
Oh, she certainly was.
Sure, for sure. New Hampshire, please, really seriously. Do you know it's not illegal to be topless for men or women in New Hampshire right now?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, because they said, nipples are nipples, and you can't just, discern between the two. Because that's what the laws were. People were freaking out over nipples. And the laws were written about nipples. And people are like, well, if you take a look at the nipples, you can't tell the difference. No, I don't know how they're going to manage. I'm not sure where they're going with this, but I know that.
They're trying to slap women now. There's 2 Republican state lawmakers that want to make it a misdemeanor for women showing breasts and nipples with reckless disregard. And there was a public hearing this week, and they warned that allowing women to go topless at beaches would quickly escalate, and they would soon be bare-chested at public libraries and Little League baseball games. It's going to be havoc. And
reckless. I'm pretty sure if a woman is topless, she is in public. It is unless you're at this place in Great Britain having sex in the parking lot, you're generally not reckless about it.
Yeah. Yeah. They went into another sort of down a path of saying that they sort of slammed women and they got a lot of heat for it. They are adding a provision for breastfeeding, but it's just this big, huge controversy. So they're trying to take away one thing that makes at least reasonable amount of sense and get rid of it. How's that?
Yeah, because of course, women should be ashamed of their bodies, and
right.
Yeah, that drives me nuts. It would certainly be easier, and it would probably be more constitutional if they just said that nobody could be topless, and therefore, if you really want the boobs to go away, you have to make the male chest go away, and that would. I'm pretty sure that that might it may not be popular, but I bet you anything would probably be constitutional because you would be taking out the sexism out of it.
Yeah. It's just, I just can't believe that these people don't have anything else to do.
Yeah. All for the concern of women recklessly waving their boobs around at a public library.
Because we don't have anything else to do besides that either.
Right, exactly.
Right? Okay.
I was going through my to-do list today, and really it was fly to New Hampshire and go topless.
Recklessly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go with you. Okay. So this European study, and they did it in a couple of different languages. They started in Poland, then they went to Lebanon, and what they wanted to find out is if there was any sort of revelation to your political leanings in the way you put your sentences together. Okay? And I thought this was so interesting, and I want to hear what you guys think about this, okay? So it's like, okay, so they were saying, like, if you describe someone as a homosexual, you're more likely to be conservative, while just simply calling someone homosexual without the A means you're more liberal. And what they're saying is it's the lack or the leaning away from labels. They are like idealistic rather than an idealist. oh, they're just putting a descriptor around. That would be a liberal one versus putting a noun in front of it, or a pronoun rather, and then making them a noun.
Right.
And so nouns, if you use heavy amount, and they proved this in a couple of different languages.
So saying like the homosexual, or when people used to say, the blacks, or the gays, or the women. When you put the or in front of it, you've made it a group. Right?
I was wondering about that S too, because it always seems to be plural.
Yeah.
Like the gays. The group of gay people, of which there are many.
The feminist versus someone who is a feminist. Something like that. Okay.
Yeah, and the article's long, but it's a pretty fun read. There was a couple other things that they did uncover, and they mentioned, and they said that they did find that that personal need for structure accounted for association between ideology and grammatical preferences. So some of it had to do with actual personality makeup too, but they were able to somewhat parse their results and be able to kind of isolate some of that. And then one that they did in Arabic, they found that social conservatism was associated with a preference for the use of nominal sentences. So fewer words. I know. You guys got to read it. I'm a wordy, and I love crap like this, and I've had English as part of my major and stuff. So I love anything that has to do with what people are kind of thinking. But when they lay it out like that, you're like, that makes sense.
No, you can read through, and when you hear statements and when you see quotes, so sometimes depending on what's going on with quotes, that people have edited it to what you're going through. But if you go through and read what's going through, you get a lot of plurals and thes and qualifiers and all that. And usually people are trying way too hard to not sound like asses, but then they end up doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Before we launch into this last thing, let's give a little nod to our other sponsor. We have two today, you guys, FreshBooks, because the next thing, I'm really sorry for putting them up against this next story, but it is the Great Northern Sex Cast. Hey, small businesses, entrepreneurs, people like that, time and the need to get things done, it's always in short supply. So FreshBooks feels your pain, and they've created something to help you reclaim some of that precious time. It's super simple invoicing solution, so it'll let you create and send slick, professional-looking invoices really quick, and that's just the beginning. It can also help you manage expenses, stay on top of who owes you what, and track your time and all of that sort of thing. So if your business keeps you busy, don't worry about it. The FreshBooks mobile app
well,
can
it
keep
could
up.
be noble.
Yeah,
I'm sure it is.
I think so. And then you can also take pictures using the camera on your phone, create expense reports. It's really, really cool. And you can also get help from real life humans at their support team. So there's a free trial for 30 days actually through the network. And you can go to, the website is gofreshbooks.com. And if you do /alive, so it's gofreshbooks.com/alive, then you'll get a free 30-day trial. So
yeah, you're going to, I know a lot of folks think they can do this on their own, but you need something. I mean, there's a human being, but I mean, even if you, give yourself stuff to a human being to do, you can't just hand them a shoebox. It needs to be a little bit organized. It's going to save you a lot of time. And I don't know too many people that aren't running, working from home or doing something like that they, you're not going to need help for it. And so this looks really cool.
No, it looks totally cool, and I need to do it because like when I did my last round, my taxes are already done. This is the earliest I've ever had them done, I think, in my whole life. And but I mean the piles and piles of information that I have to compile and give in categories and stuff. And then when I got my taxes back, I don't understand them. I mean, I'm like, are these the numbers I gave you? And he goes, and I'm like, okay, great, fine, I'll sign it. So complicated. I don't know how you could do it without an accountant. Do you have one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, business, work, personal, all that sort of stuff. I can do that, but we use we have a system. You have to give it to them in a reasonable manner.
Yeah,
I mean, they're spectacular human beings, and they do a really good job. But you still can't just not keep track of stuff. No, that's gonna hurt you.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, that's a good enough buffer. We need to talk about farts quick, because this absolutely. I'm sorry, farts are funny. They just are. They are most of the time. And you got to love, like 1-800-Flowers always comes out with all this relationship stuff every year around Valentine's Day, which is fine. But some of the stuff they find out is fun, and the little revelations that they make. So this is a flatulence deodorant, which I'm really not called Devrom. And I'm not really sure how that works, if that's an external or internal kind of deal.
Right.
We'll have to look that up. But there was a recent survey. So basically, the number one most embarrassing time to fart is...
Sex.
Okay. 2, during a job interview. Number 3 is a date. 4 is in a car full of people. 5 is at work. But the more revealing information was 37% would confess to having done it if a coworker called them out. So less than half of people would own up to it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that people like pass gas. It's completely normal, and it's anywhere from like 6 to 20 times a day. And there's 7 billion people on this planet. People fart.
I know.
But they're just. But yeah, it's noisy, it's smelly, and so if you can sometimes, whatever. But there are just certain times when we do not need it. I mean, I don't understand. Like, if you're at the Oscars, and you're one of those women that are just wrapped into one of those dresses. Obviously, you can't eat because if you have anything, you're going to be going, bleh, and someone's going to have to exit somewhere.
Right. Well, you know what I thought. Only 20%. I would think this number would be much higher. Only 20% would make a loud noise to conceal the sound.
Only 20%?
I know. That's what I said.
That's crazy. I've done that a few times. The old cough and fart.
Right. Right. 44% said they leave the room after they've committed the crime.
Oh, yep.
That's yeah.
Okay, so you can't leave the room before. You just have to get the hell out of Dodge beforehand. I mean, personally, I think that you would
share first, leave next.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that you would exit, but yeah, you might not be able to,
Or like at a store when you do the crop dusting. When you feel it coming, you just got to keep walking. Keep walking. They can't track me, my trail.
I just thought that was funny, and because the number 1 would be sex-wise, but job interview makes another good one. Guys, I know that we're out of kind of the Valentine season now, basically for you. So what's next at the stores?
Well, we've got a remodel at the Bloomington store coming up after Easter. We're trying to get ready for Pride. We've got that's in June. We've got working with a lot of vendors on that. But now it's the time of the year where Tara the buyer goes to every store and finds the things that we've decided to no longer. I mean, like I said, all the stuff is. We're really proud of all the stuff that's in the store. But sometimes, no matter what, I mean, you cannot bat 100 on picking out the perfect merchandise, or something's been discontinued by a company, or it's some packaging change, anything. This is an excellent time to wander over the stores and take a look at our dump bins where we have them, because there's some outstanding items that we're just either the company's not carrying, or we've decided not to carry, or we want to bring. I mean. They've redesigned something, and we're going to be bringing it in. So she's gone through and she's hit all the stores now and taking care of that. So that's pretty exciting. And she's got a show that she goes to coming up in a few months where she takes a look at all the new stuff coming in.
Oh, cool.
When you order. But that's about, that's where we are. It's pretty much just trying to breathe now.
Yeah,
We've gotten through Christmas, we've gotten through Valentine's, and we take we realize things like, the Tatchet guns aren't functioning. We have a chance to take a look. At all the little stuff that just keeps getting shoved to the bottom of the pile.
Are you guys still looking for people?
Oh, always. There's always something. I believe Coon Rapids. No.
Coon Rapids.
Possibly one of the southern stores. Not sure because we're rearranging stuff. There's always you can. What's the company that we use? The online.
Oh, we go through Indeed.
Indeed.
Post on Indeed. Otherwise, we will often post on our main Facebook or individual store Facebook pages.
Okay. Yeah. So just keep that in mind if you know anybody, because obviously this is a fun company to hang out with. And I just wanted to mention that. And one more thing. Do you guys still have the bargain bins of like books and DVDs anywhere? In any of the stores?
Well, we do have. We had a really good special buy on DVDs that came without cases. I think they're running what, $4.95, $5.95?
$5. So we got $5 DVDs. They're just in a paper sleeve. But a lot of people throw out the cases anyways. So
I know. I wish they could wait until they got out of the parking lot. But yes.
Oh, yuck. Okay. Well, no. I overheard. I am not a party to this, but I thought it was funny. And they were like, "Hey, how much do the DVDs cost in the stores and the little books and stuff like that?" And I don't know, it's a range or whatever. But you know what this one guy wants to do to another guy as a practical joke? He wants to stuff. Have you guys ever seen the little free libraries that people put up? So there's one. in this neighborhood, and he's going to put, if lost or if found, please return to his friend and stock the little free library with porn. And I'm like, don't ask me to help. I'm not helping.
No, that's...
I'm not helping.
Nope. Don't tell the clerk your plans when you go to buy this stuff
because you'll be banned.
Because
yeah.
I'm so hard because I'm like, no, though.
Don't do that.
No,
this is supposed to promote reading,
right?
No.
And kids are gonna open it up, and it's gonna be nothing but porn.
Yeah, it's frustrating because in theory it's funny,
right?
But in reality, it
actually they could get charged.
Yeah,
I would.
Oh, that's a good one.
The guy whose name he puts on there, and the friend, both of them could end up getting slapped with charges for supplying
because
pornography
under
to
18-year-old
minors.
could be okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
You might want to. That's one of them crazy. You know,
mm-hmm.
where you don't think it all the way through
they're
to
guys.
the part where you're in jail.
They're guys, so they wouldn't.
For giving porn to minors.
You know what? You know what else guys don't know?
What?
That emergency contraception exists.
Oh my God, that's right. I'm sorry, Colleen. We forgot all about this.
No, but I figured we get to it. But when we said it about guys, no, I'm reading through. I'm reading through there, and they were saying there was they did a survey of teenage boys. It said 84% of teenage boys. It said they believed in avoiding a partner's pregnancy was very or somewhat important. Glad to hear that. But only 42% of it had heard of emergency contraception. I mean, you can go to Walgreens and CVS right now, and above the condoms is Plan B and this other brand I'm not thinking of right now. It's like $50. How do folks not know that this exists? I mean, you should be, you used to have to get you used to have to get a prescription.
Yeah.
It's just sitting on the counter. You walk up and you buy. No, it's $50, but you can just buy it. I mean, you could go and buy it and have it in your house, just in case. So you don't even have to make the trip. I mean, but I mean, everyone's so worried about all this sort of stuff. Why? How do you not? Once again, why? I mean, no, they didn't. It takes two people there.
Yeah.
And if you're worried about pregnancy, generally it's a male and a female. So let's just going through there, the fact that. I'm thinking that possibly maybe these companies need to do a little marketing on the guy spectrum, saying that it's their that it's 50% of their responsibility if something screws up.
Well, it's
condom breaks or anything, or if there's two people in the heat of the moment, it's two people in the heat of the moment.
I'm still hung up on the 84%. Very or somewhat important. Like, what if you're a teenager? How is that not 100% very important? Like, what are those other 16% and the somewhat people thinking? Mm-hmm. Anybody have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, that sort of caught my eye, too.
Well, I think and it all goes back to not knowing about Plan B and such, that it is a lack of education. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, how would a teenage boy know what Plan B is unless that's something that's covered in his sex health or sex education class? Yeah. Or the conversation that parents should be having, yes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, because once again, it falls right in the female's lap to know all about this. And I'm just like, yeah, but no, it is available, folks. It is on. You can walk into the Walgreens right now. Now, mind you, you can get it for free. You can get a prescription and go to, up to the counter and get it for free. But if you're in emergency and you don't want to wait for that, it's available. Yep. Mm-hmm. And if someone tells you that a guy can't buy this, they're lying. If someone, there's a lot of different things that were in the study. I've got the link and we'll figure it out and going through there. But they, some folks, will lie about it. But no, it is available. You can walk up. Anyone can buy it.
Well, and watch some unscrupulous clerk at a Walgreens or a CVS or any kind of a drugstore, not to call anybody out by name, might come up and try to talk a kid out of it, and bully them into not buying it, which happens. Okay, now I'm depressed. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, that's a good point. And you've got the link, right, Colleen?
Yeah, I'll find the link. I mean, in 2013, it says 18% of sexually active women used emergency contraception sometime in the previous 2 years. So This is not,
I've used it.
Yeah, going through there. I mean, you need to, it used to be that you had to get, what they would do is they would give you a prescription for the birth control pill. If you slam down enough of them 2 days in a row, it does the same thing.
Yeah, and then you feel so great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this
I
stuff,
got so sick.
Yeah.
Everyone should do the morning after pill if you need it, but it made me really ill for a while.
Yeah, this is not normal birth control. It's not. It is. I mean, that's the word.
It's a super pill.
Emergency.
Yes.
Not not an everyday thing. And I kept reading through this, and I'm just like, oh my God! Once again, lack of education and just general knowledge. But I mean, I don't know if they, but I can imagine the uproar if the companies were to start. They had plenty of Viagra on ESPN. I think maybe Plan B should take out a couple of ads.
I'm thinking. I mean, and yeah, how is their marketing department? That's a really stunning statistic for somebody that's, that's a weird thing to say, boost sales for a company like that. But they need to figure out who the audience is for the product if they're going to sell it. Wow. Okay, guys, it's March. So here we go. Leap day's over. Here we go. So we're moving forward into the spring, and we'll be back next week. We've got a couple of people. I got to catch everybody before they head out on spring break, but we've got some of our regulars coming back to come in and do some of the spring stuff. So any last thoughts?
No, that's about it. Remember, emergency contraception exists. Erin Andrews is right. And don't have sex in the parking lot in England. Does that pretty much cover it?
Or our parking lots.
Yeah, no,
Any parking lot.
Yeah, no sex in the parking lot.
And the Red Lobster, just don't.
No.
Just don't.
Don't. I pretty much injured myself there. My chest hurts.
Swap.